Everything begins in the mind. Every thought, every belief, every silent voice within, together they form the lens through which you see the world. If your heart is filled with doubt, life will appear full of obstacles. If it's filled with compassion, you will see people to care for and opportunities to love everywhere you look. The mind is like a garden, and you are its gardener. What you plant determines what you harvest. Seeds of patience blossom into peace. Seeds of anger darken into gloom. The Buddha once said, "The mind is the root of all things. What you think, you become." This is not poetic language. It is a spiritual law that governs every layer of reality. The outer world merely reflects your inner state. Those who have not realized this let their minds drift, reacting by habit, allowing fear, resentment, and worry to overtake mindfulness. But when you train the mind as one tempers a sword, when you refine awareness as one steadies the breath, everything begins to transform, not because the world changes, but because your way of seeing it does. Thought is energy, the seed that produces action. Action creates karma, and karma shapes destiny. To change a single thought is to redirect the current of your entire life. Each time you choose to think kindly, speak gently, or act virtuously, you are sending a new frequency into the universe, and it will return to you like the echo of a distant bell. But if you nurture resentment, comparison, or jealousy, your mind will remain clouded, unable to see the light that was always there. Those who follow the way do not seek escape from the world. They simply learn to master the mind. Amid the noise of the marketplace, they remain as calm as a still lake. Amid the storm, they still see the full moon reflected within, for they understand that nothing outside can disturb the one who keeps peace within. From this moment, begin observing your thoughts. Do not judge, just watch. Each time a thought arises, ask yourself, is this a seed I wish to plant? If not, release it. If yes, nurture it with mindfulness, because these small, silent thoughts will quietly shape the reality you live tomorrow. The world you live in is not a sentence, it is a mirror. It reflects exactly what you plant within. So if you wish to change your life, do not begin with your circumstances. Begin with your thoughts. For when your mind becomes light, every path ahead will shine. Imagine your mind as fertile soil. Every thought you nurture is a seed planted there. Seeds of compassion, patience, and humility grow into the fruits of joy. But if you sow anger, envy, and fear, your garden will soon be overrun with weeds. Your life in truth is merely the reflection of the seeds you choose to water in silence. The Buddha taught, "With our thoughts, we create the world. This is not metaphor, it is the law of life. Every action, every word, every outcome begins with a single thought. Thought is the root, the energy that shapes karma, and karma shapes destiny. If you want to know what your future will look like, simply observe how you think today. When your mind is entangled in negative stories, I'm not good enough, I'm always unlucky, no one understands me, these self-affirmations slowly become your reality, for the mind acts according to what it believes. But if you redirect and plant new seeds, I am learning, I am growing, I am already enough, your inner energy shifts, and the world responds in kind. Meditation and mindfulness are the practices of gardening the mind. When you sit quietly and simply observe your thoughts drift by, you begin to see which seeds are sprouting and which are withering. You don't need to rush to pull them out. Awareness itself is the sunlight that causes darkness to fade. Once illuminated negative thoughts retreat naturally, making space for purer ones to grow. In the Noble Eightfold Path, right thought is fundamental. It reminds us that every thought has consequences, and we have the power to decide which ones are allowed to remain. Each time you choose a wholesome thought over an unwholesome one, you build a bridge to peace instead of a wall of suffering. That is why the awakened are vigilant with their minds. They know that even one wrong thought can divert the flow of karma. Therefore, become a mindful gardener. Each morning before opening your eyes, ask yourself, What seed will I plant today? It could be gratitude, compassion, or simply a quiet belief that life is still worth living. Then, throughout the day, water that seed with consistency, with gentle words, with kind actions. And when night comes, as you look back, you will realize life has softened, your heart has steadied, and you yourself have become a blooming garden within your own mind. The mind is the sacred temple of the soul. Yet most people today leave every door wide open, allowing anyone to enter anything to speak. Sounds, images, news, judgments all flood in unchecked, and then we wonder why peace feels so far away. The Buddha called this practice guarding the sense doors, an art of living few truly understand. Each sense is a gate. The eyes see, the ears hear, the mouth speaks, the mind thinks. Without mindfulness, whatever passes through these gates leaves impressions on the heart, shaping emotions, habits, and karma. That is why the wise do not only choose what they eat, but also what they allow their minds to consume. You may eat clean food, but if you feed your mind with toxic news, gossip, or conversations filled with negativity, your soul will still grow weary and dim. Yet if you choose carefully, reading what nourishes wisdom, listening to what softens the heart, speaking what brings peace, your inner world will grow clear like calm water. The mind, like soil, mirrors whatever is planted in it. Ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind each day? A headline filled with fear, or a verse that calms the heart? A pointless argument, or a few minutes of silence in nature? These small choices determine the climate within you. A gentle song, a virtuous page, a quiet moment listening to the wind. Sometimes that alone is enough to cleanse the mind. The enlightened do not withdraw from the world. They live within it, without letting it invade their hearts. They do not reject sound, but they choose which ones to keep. They do not avoid people, but they know who to stay close to and who to keep at a distance. They understand that energy is contagious, so they surround themselves only with what expands the heart and lightens the spirit. Guarding the gates of the mind is not about building walls. It is about planting flowers around the gate so that anyone who enters feels peace, and so you remember that this temple is worth protecting. Begin today. Watch less of what is useless. Listen less to negativity. Speak less words that wound. Instead, open yourself to truth, to beauty, to the laughter of kind souls. For in the end, the world you live in reflects the world you allow into your mind. If you guard the gate, your mind will shine. If your mind shines, your world will become serene. And when your world grows serene, you will realize peace was never gone. It was simply waiting for you to close the unnecessary doors. Have you ever noticed yourself reacting before you even think? A word makes you angry, a memory pulls you into sadness, or a vague fear drags your heart into darkness. That is when you are living in automatic mode, letting old habits, past wounds, and unconscious fears steer your life for you. The Buddha called this ignorance in action. When we no longer see what we are doing, thinking, or saying, we merely react. And in that moment, freedom is lost. The human mind is like a river. If not guided by mindfulness, it flows wherever old currents lead toward worry, comparison, defensiveness, or anger. Every repeated reaction becomes habit, and every lasting habit becomes karma. Thus we live like machines that smile and speak, but inside carry tension and fatigue. The more we let instinct take over, the further we drift from our own clear essence. But Buddhism does not teach suppression of emotion. It teaches awareness within emotion. When angry, know that you are angry. When sad, know that you are sad. When the mind begins its defense, take half a step back and observe. The moment you realize you are reacting, your awareness has already separated from the wave. That brief pause, even one breath, 1 second of stillness, is the doorway to freedom. Those who practice meditation do not try to eliminate feelings, they train the ability to see before reacting. They watch anger as one watches clouds drift by, knowing it comes, knowing it will go. No hatred, no attachment. They understand that emotions are not you. They are passing guests. The true master is the observer within. When you remember this, you begin to master your life. Let every moment of agitation become a meditation. When someone hurts you, do not respond at once. Breathe deeply, feel the heat in your chest, and simply watch. The breath will cool, the mind will settle, and wisdom will speak. Then you will see you need not win every argument. You only need to win yourself, win over impulse, win over unconscious reaction. Escaping automatic mode is not a destination, but a lifelong practice of awakening. Each time you choose stillness over haste, awareness over reaction, you expand your inner freedom. That is when you are no longer a puppet of emotion, but the one holding the strings. When the mind is trained to see first, understand first, pause first, you will realize true freedom does not lie out there. It lives in the very moment you awaken amid the flow of the unconscious. Life does not ask for our permission before bringing challenges. Loss, betrayal, failure, loneliness, they arrive like sudden rain, drenching us in cold confusion. Our first instinct is to escape, to complain, or to find shortcuts out of pain. Yet the Buddha taught suffering is not the enemy, it is the teacher dressed in harsh robes. Without suffering, wisdom cannot grow. Without darkness, we would never discover the light we carry within. Suffering is the first noble truth, the Buddha said. But he did not stop there. He revealed the path to transform suffering into understanding. It is in the fire of trial that the true nature of the mind is revealed. When life is smooth, anyone can remain calm. But when the storm rises, only the mindful stand firm. Therefore, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That question may not erase the pain, but it opens the mind, and in that opening, wisdom begins to sprout. A person who loses their job may learn humility. One betrayed may learn to love without attachment. One rejected may learn self-respect. These lessons rarely come through joy, but through fracture. Suffering, when seen with insight, becomes the furnace that refines the soul where ego burns away to reveal the clarity beneath. The awakened do not pray to avoid pain, they learn to walk through it with eyes open. They understand that pain is temporary, but the understanding it brings is eternal. Each time they endure, they do not curse, they listen. They listen to see the cause, to understand karma, to release attachment. Once they realize that suffering is the condition for awakening, fear dissolves, for every wound becomes a crack where light can enter. And one day, you too will realize pain never comes to destroy you, but to awaken you. It forces you to pause, to look deeply, and to return to yourself. Then, suffering ceases to be darkness. It becomes a mirror reflecting the path you are meant to walk. So when life turns against the wind again, do not rush to flee. Sit down, breathe deeply, and ask softly, "What is my lesson in this storm?" If you can learn from it, you will no longer fear the storm, because you will have learned to turn the storm into wind and pain into wisdom. Gratitude is not words, it is a state of mind. A grateful heart sees a completely different world than a complaining one. The complainer sees lack. The grateful one sees abundance. The complainer counts what's missing. The grateful one recognizes what remains. Between these two ways of seeing lie two entirely different lives. The Buddha taught, no one is richer than the one who knows contentment. And contentment is gratitude, because when your heart rests in appreciation, everything, no matter how small, becomes sacred. Gratitude is not a fleeting emotion. When you are helped, it is a mindful way of living. Each morning when you open your eyes, instead of reaching for your phone, take a deep breath and whisper, "Thank you for waking up again. Thank you for the breath, still steady, for the roof above, for the loved ones still near." Just a few seconds of this shifts the mind from lack to abundance, from heaviness to lightness, from ignorance to clarity. The nature of the mind is forgetfulness. It constantly looks outward, wanting more, comparing, desiring, and that is why we suffer. But when you pause to give thanks even silently, you bring the mind back to the present, the only place that truly exists. When gratitude is practiced daily, it becomes the anchor that keeps you steady amid life's turbulence. No matter the storm, your heart remains calm, for it no longer focuses on what's missing, but on what's already here. Gratitude is also the remedy for greed and anger. When you are grateful to others, you no longer see yourself as the center. When you are grateful for adversity, resentment fades. When you are grateful for your breath, the rain, the birds outside your window, you train your mind to return to pure awareness, to see things as they are without judgment or comparison. This is the doorway to wisdom. And remember, gratitude is not reserved for good days. When life is hard, be thankful for the patience it teaches. When someone leaves, be thankful for the lesson in love and letting go. When you are tired, be thankful that your body still feels. Every tear, every stumble can become a word of thanks if you see it with a clear mind. So make gratitude your daily ritual, not to force positivity, but to cultivate awareness. Begin each morning with 3 things you are grateful for, and let your heart remember. When you live in the energy of gratitude, you no longer need to seek peace. Peace will find you like the gentle breath of one who finally knows they are alive. The mind is fertile ground, and the images you plant within it will blossom into the person you become. Visualization in Buddhism is not fantasy, it is the act of planting seeds within the mind. When you contemplate noble qualities, serenity, compassion, wisdom, courage, you are training your mind toward a higher pattern of being. The Buddha called this bhavana the cultivation of the mind by nurturing the image of goodness. For the mind is creative energy. It becomes what it repeatedly envisions. Imagine each morning sitting quietly, closing your eyes, and visualizing yourself already living the qualities you wish to grow. If you wish for peace, picture yourself in the midst of chaos, breathing slowly, smiling gently, seeing clearly without being swept away. If you wish to grow compassion, imagine your eyes gazing upon others with kindness, without judgment or demand. When visualization is practiced long enough, the mind begins to believe, and when the mind believes, the body acts accordingly. From image to action, inner to outer, it is all one continuous flow. Those who train the mind do not wait for virtues to appear before living virtuously. They live as though those virtues are already present. They do not say, "I will be peaceful." They say, "I am peaceful." They do not hope. "One day I'll be patient." They choose to be patient now. For in the world of the mind, will be is delay, while am is realization. When you envision yourself as wise, every decision begins to align with that wisdom. When you see yourself as calm, every breath and movement naturally carries that calm energy. Modern science calls this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. But Buddhism has known this truth for thousands of years. The mind creates the world, and the world reflects the mind. What you think, you live. What you visualize, you become. So each day, take a few minutes to sit in stillness and imagine the person you are becoming. Not to escape the present, but to water the seeds of goodness sleeping within you. See yourself calm when misunderstood, gentle amid tension, clear-minded in moments of choice. This is not illusion, it is practice. And with time, something miraculous happens. The image in your mind ceases to be a dream and becomes your nature. You no longer act peaceful, you are peace. You no longer try to be compassionate, you become compassion. Visualization is the bridge that carries you from who you are learning to be to who you already are. It is the path every awakened soul has once walked. No one can truly love others until they have learned to be gentle with themselves. In Buddhism, compassion is not only something you give outward, it begins as a journey inward, where you stop punishing, stop judging, and begin embracing yourself with understanding. The Buddha taught compassion for oneself is the root of all compassion. For if your heart is filled with harshness, even your kindest words will carry the residue of pain. We are often taught to be strong, to strive to be perfect. But few remind us that sometimes true strength lies in softness, in daring to admit fatigue, to cry, to forgive yourself. The one who truly loves themselves is not indulging the ego, but seeing clearly that mistakes are part of evolution. They do not whip themselves for failing. They learn, understand, and move forward. Buddhism likens self-compassion to a stream, quiet, steady, and endlessly refreshing the forest of the mind. When you know how to love yourself, you stop speaking to yourself with cruelty. You replace "I'm so stupid" with "I'm still learning." You replace "I'm too weak" with "I'm healing." This language is a form of alchemy, for every phrase you repeat becomes the energetic climate of your soul. The Buddha once used the parable of the second arrow. When life wounds you, that is the first arrow, inevitable pain. But when you blame or condemn yourself, that is the second arrow, the one you shoot at yourself. Most of life's suffering does not come from the first arrow, but from how we react to it. Self-compassion is the art of not shooting that second arrow. It is choosing to look at your pain with the eyes of a loving mother, not to scold, but to hold. Practicing self-compassion requires no complex ritual. Each morning, simply place a hand on your heart and whisper, "Today, no matter what happens, I stand by myself." Sit in meditation and send blessings inward. May I be safe. May I let go. May I be patient with myself. These are not mere affirmations, they are acts of inner nourishment, dissolving fear, softening shame, and returning you to the goodness that has always been yours. And then the miracle unfolds. When you truly become gentle with yourself, you begin to see others through that same gentle gaze. You understand that everyone is fighting silent battles. You stop judging, stop needing to win, you simply wish to understand. The power of self-compassion is not weakness. It is the strength of those who heal instead of harm, of those who can stand firm amid storms, yet keep a kind heart. Most people live far from themselves. The body is here, but the mind is wandering, either running back to the past in regret or rushing toward the future in worry. Few truly live in this moment where life is actually unfolding. The Buddha called it the home of the present moment, the only place where you can truly breathe, truly live, truly be at peace. Yet most of us left that home long ago, lost in the illusions our minds create. The more we chase, the further we drift. The art of presence is the path of returning home. It does not require you to leave the world only to pause. One slow breath, one deep gaze, one gentle smile. That is enough, you have returned. When the mind rests in the present, everything seems to change, not because the world has changed, but because you are fully here. The song of a bird is no longer mere sound, but becomes meditation music. A sip of water is no longer routine, but a miracle. Each step is no longer empty, but a footprint of awareness. Presence is the art of one who has stopped searching. They have realized that happiness is not found in the destination, but in the way they walk. The unawakened think, "When I achieve this, I will be at peace." But the awakened know peace arises the moment you stop running from the life you are already living. The past is gone, the future not yet here, only the present is real. And in the present there is no lack, only breath. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to see that even the simplest things hold wonder. The in-breath is a gift, the out-breath is release. Sound, light, breeze all whisper the same truth: I am here with you. Each time you are fully present, time itself stops, the mind ceases to judge, and you touch the pure essence of life. Presence does not mean escaping hardship. It means facing it, but with a steady heart. It means smiling in the midst of chaos because you have found refuge within. When you live in the present, clarity returns. You see what to do, what to let go of, and what is just noise. So, whenever you find yourself lost in thought, gently call your mind back. Breathing in, I am here. Breathing out, I am at peace. That is the mantra of the awakened. You do not need to go anywhere, nor become anyone else. Peace is not a destination, it is the path itself, and that path begins the moment you truly come home to yourself. All the lessons you have journeyed through, from planting right thoughts, guarding the gates of the mind, escaping automatic reactions, reframing suffering to gratitude, visualization, self-compassion, and presence, lead to one single point: becoming the master of your own mind. For when you master the mind, you master your life. When the mind is clear, the world is peaceful. When the mind is still, outer turmoil becomes nothing but small ripples. The Buddha never promised a world without suffering. He offered a path to transform suffering into wisdom. That path lives in every breath, every thought, every choice you make each day. Every thought is a seed. Plant seeds of compassion, patience, and mindfulness. Every word is a breeze. Let your words carry healing, not harm. Every action is a footprint on the earth. Let your footprints be marked with gratitude. No one can walk this path for you. No scripture, no ritual can replace direct practice. Peace does not come from hearing or understanding. It comes from experience. From today, choose one small thing to begin. Sit quietly for 5 minutes each morning. Breathe deeply and smile. Write down 3 things you are grateful for each night. When anger arises, pause and observe. When you see suffering, send a silent blessing. These simple acts are meditation, are practice. They are the first steps toward inner freedom. You do not need to be perfect, to begin only to begin, so that each day you grow deeper. The path of cultivation is not about becoming someone else, but returning to the purity that was always within. Like a lake that clears when still, your mind too will become clear the moment it stops running. And if there's one truth to carry with you after this journey, let it be this: all answers lie within you. The Buddha did not save anyone. He simply lit the path so that each could walk on their own. So do not wait another day. Begin now. Replant your thoughts, renew your mind, breathe mindfully, and walk each step in awareness. For when you do, you will not only transform your own life, you will send ripples of peace outward, touching everyone around you, becoming a small light in the world's darkness. The world does not need more noise. It needs awakened hearts, and that light begins with you.